Today, my friends, we're doing something a little different, and we're talking about a series of stories where we follow the exploits of a party that deals with a problem player. He is creatively named Paladin, and how this seems to be a joke more than a horror story. I'm Sweeps, and let's begin. Dramatis Personae. DM, a talented but inexperienced DM. His only flaw might be his leniency towards problem players. Me, playing a half-elf druid. Sorcerer, mostly just an unfortunate bystander through what will unfold. Aladin the Paladin, very creatively named Paladin. Please take a guess whether he'll be the problem down the line. Monk, the poor guy who's going to suffer the most. At one point in the story, he'll literally throw his player's handbook at Aladin. Please hold back on judging him too harshly until you read further. Nobody got hurt, at least outside the game.
Well, maybe somebody got hurt, but nobody we knew.
Without further introduction, I'll let the words and deeds of Aladin the Paladin speak for himself. Our level 1 characters meet at a wizard's tower. The old mage needs help with some busy work and is hiring adventurers, promising gold as a reward. Me. Looks like we're going to work together on this. I'm Darianus of the Silver Forest. Pleasure to meet you. Aladin the Paladin.
I'm Aladin the Paladin. I'm a force of the law!
Wow, what a name! I'm Aladin the Paladin, angrily interrupting Monk.
Yes, that's my name, okay? I'm Aladin the Paladin.
He looks like he's thinking hard for a moment before he continues.
My parents were bards. They liked rhyming.
Okay, so they knew you'd become a paladin when they named you?
Well, yeah, okay. They gave me away to a paladin order when I was little.
That, by the way, is literally everything we're going to learn about Alden's backstory during the rest of this campaign. I'm sure he was a well-fleshed-out character. No need to get agitated about simple introductions, let's just hear what our wizard hosts needs from us. And so we went on our first quest, fetching some magical ingredients from an abandoned mine, which of course was infested with some low-level monsters. Everything went fine. We looted some gemstones and leveled up. Together with the wizard's pay, we had earned ourselves 15,000 gold points.
Give me the money, I want to buy plate armor.
No, we're splitting it up evenly. Everyone gets their fair share.
What do you even need that money for? You're a monk! You don't use weapons or armor, and the druid can't use metal items. And the sorcerer doesn't have to pay for new spells. I'm the only one here with proper use of this money.
We know each other for 3 days. There's no way I pay for your armor while I get nothing out of it.
Let's all calm down. We don't have much need for material wealth right now. I'll lend you my share, Aladin. If you want to save up for better armor to protect all of us, you can pay it back later.
No, I'm not borrowing money. Money lending is evil. I am a force of the law!
Okay, it was just an offer.
I have no clue what led to this weird outburst and his weird hate of money lending. Maybe some weird anti-Semitic stereotypes? No idea! What the fuck, where did that come from?
So we're splitting it up evenly. I want to sell some magic items the wizard has for sale.
Alright, anything else you guys want to do while you're in town? At this point, while Sorcerer, Monk, and I do some shopping, Aladin the Paladin is passing multiple notes to the DM. Are you sure about this? I mean, you're lawful good, right?
Yes! It is in the service of good!
DM rolls his eyes visibly. Alright, once all of you meet up in the market, you notice Aladin appearing from a dark side alley, parting ways with a sleazy-looking half-orc. What did you do with that half-orc? He looks like a criminal.
I bought some drugs!
Everyone at the same time. What?
Since you won't let me buy my plate armor, I need to find another way to quadruple my gold.
So much for your I am the
law!
The tagline. And how do you even plan to resell it for quadruple its value?
I'll dilute it with sawdust to quadruple the amount and then resell it.
And so much for your I oppose evil tagline as well.
Shut up, idiot! Every drug addict is evil anyways. So if they die from the diluted drugs, it's still a victory for good!
The hell before you die.
Are you sure this is a good idea? If you misers would just buy me my plate armor, I wouldn't have to do this, so shut up!
The game continues, as does Alden with his stupid plan, passing notes once in a while with the DM while we finish up our business in town. We take up our next quest from our new wizard patron and journey towards our new destination. Once we leave town, we get ambushed on the road. The leader of the heavily armed band of thugs shouts at you. How dare you try to intrude in the drug trade of our town? Give us our fair cut or pay with your lives.
No way, criminals! You will perish in the name of the law!
Goddamn right.
I'm not going to risk my life for this bullshit.
My good friends here, and I will send you to hell, where you belong, evil scum!
I guess Alden just included us in this fight. So we fought, and it was a mess. Monk was taken out during the combat, but DM was lenient, so some of the thugs dragged him away instead of outright killing him. Sorcerer, Aladin, and I barely defeated the rest of them, but the kidnappers got away.
We would have easily defeated him if I had proper armor!
A while later, we have healed up and tracked the escaped thugs back to their hideout in the outskirts of the town. After some tense moments and successful stealth rolls, we managed to break into the criminal hideout. Sorcerer, who was mostly passive up to this point, having his best line of the campaign, "Good thing you don't wear plate armor, Aladin, otherwise you'd probably have failed your stealth check!"
Ha! Got him!
We managed to take out some of the resting thugs undetected, find the unconscious monk, and finally find all of Monk's belongings locked away in a chest.
Great! We'll take this money and split it up evenly. With that and my drug profits, I think I can afford the plate armor. Monk doesn't get a share though, since he didn't help us here.
Dude! It's his money!
We're in a kind of dungeon and it's loot from a chest. Monk insisted that we split everything we find evenly.
If you guessed this was the moment when Monk threw his player's handbook, then you'd be correct. Your loud argument has alerted the rest of the sleeping criminals. You hear their footsteps and shouting towards your direction. At this point, we postpone the argument, grab Monk and his stuff, and beat it. Sorcerer and I have disadvantage on athletics because we're carrying Monk and his belongings, but we manage to escape. Alden, however, rolls a natural 1. Is anyone going to stop and help him?
Nope. No!
No.
Alden gets surrounded by angry thugs, tries to fight them, curses us and our evilness for leaving him alone, and dies an inglorious death. This time, for some reason, the criminals don't take prisoners. Suspicious.
That's the end of the short but horribly annoying life of Aladin the Paladin. And it's the end of this horror story. If you guys are interested, let me know, then I'll write up a sequel to this. A sequel? Really? But Aladin the Paladin is dead, isn't he? Yes, he is, but unfortunately his player rolled up a new character. If you're interested, I can introduce you to his successor. His name? Raladin, brother of Aladin. I really wish I was kidding right now, but that was his name. But wait, there's a twist. Raladin wasn't a paladin, he was a rogue, so things will probably go better, right? Right.
Wrong!
Now, having read the other stories in this trilogy, I can tell you there's a reason why Alden is like this, but for a moment, let's consider if this was an average everyday group of people. Alden is exhibiting what a lot of selfish and, funnily enough, hard-headed behavior you see in a lot of players. When you enter in a D&D party, you need to realize you're not the main character. This is essentially a stage show that you're sharing with 2, 3, 5 people who are there to have fun. You have to remember that this is a collaborative effort. And if you're gonna be a jerk to the party, then don't be shocked when the party decides to leave you for dead. Now for part 2.
After the tragic death of Aladin the Paladin, we continue our campaign.
Have you rolled up a new character?
Yes.
Here's the sheet. The DM takes a brief look at it.
Are you serious about the name? Sorcerer gets curious and takes a peek at the sheet. He informs us out of game that the new character is called Raladin.
You serious?
I thought a rogue would be a good idea since nobody was able to disarm the traps in the last dungeon.
Alright then. The party returns to their wizard's patron tower in order to explain that they failed their quest because a certain paladin dragged them into his bad crime drama. They realize that a failed magical experiment has turned the wizard into a talking squirrel. Okay. He needs the party to gather new ingredients for a ritual to transform him back into human form. He doesn't mind them failing the previous quest and is willing to pay them some more so they can hire a replacement for Aladin. So the party heads to the next tavern to recruit a new member, and we introduce our new player character.
You see a mysterious hooded figure rise from a dark corner of the room and slowly approach you. I will join you on your quest.
As long as you have enough rubies.
Well, since nobody else in here seems to be interested and we have a wizard to rescue, I guess you're our only good choice, stranger. I still can't pronounce that name. I'm gonna call you Dari from now on. Dari of the Silver Forest. Who are you?
My name is irrelevant to you, but I'll help you with your wizard problem.
I sigh and roll my eyes, but I want to get back to the adventure, so I grind my teeth. Alright, Irrelevant. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Welcome to the party, Irrelevant. You seem very trustworthy.
With their new trusted ally, the party leaves town and searches for a ruined labyrinth in a nearby forest. After some dungeon crawling and fighting, the party secures the ingredient they were looking for: Minotaur horns. Monk even finds a nice magical sai, which counts as a monk weapon. On their trip back to town, the party takes a rest for the night at the bank of a...
Riverside, mother...
I'll take the first watch.
I throw a worried glance towards Monk and Sorcerer.
That's fine, Irrelevant. I'll take second.
Night sets in as everyone but the rogue goes to sleep.
Once everyone's asleep, I sneak towards Monk.
Raladin throws his dice.
That's a 24 on stealth. I use coup de grace to kill.
I stick my sai right into his face. Since you prepared for the attack, Monk gets advantage.
What?
I have a 24 on stealth and he's asleep.
DM puts a piece of paper on the table. It's a note Monk passed to him in secret. Monk was so stealthy about it, even Sorcerer and I had no clue that he did this.
Monk clearly stated here that he prepares to attack anyone who sneaks up on him with his sai after he lies down. If you're waiting for exactly this situation, a 24 on stealth means nothing.
Raladin suffers heavy damage from Monk's new magical sai.
I attack him back.
The rest of the party awakens and soon realizes that they're in the middle of a PvP combat. What's with this nonsense? Why are you attacking our friend, Irrelevant?
My name is Raladin, and I'm here to avenge my brother Aladin!
Wait, wasn't Alden given to a paladin ordered as a baby by his rhyming bard parents?
Well,
Yes.
and they gave me away to a thieves guild to balance their karma. They were true neutral. Now I tried to reconnect with Alden and found out he was betrayed and left to die by his own party.
I don't know who told you this, Raladin, but that's not quite how it happened. Lay down your arms so we can talk about it.
I attack!
The already heavily injured Raladin is quickly killed by a very satisfied Monk.
You wouldn't have won without metagaming, you jerk!
Mr. Electric, send him to the principal's office and have him expelled!
I wasn't metagaming. Why would my monk with a wisdom of 18 trust a creepy-looking stranger who wouldn't even give his name? And this shortly after my monk nearly got killed and looted by the last weird psycho stranger he joined up with. It makes total sense for him to be very paranoid.
Bullshit!
The rest of the group agrees with Monk, and Raladin's body gets thrown into the river to feed the fish. Oh my god!
That's why I ain't on hard here. Get down, damn it, come move today.
Raladin, please roll up a new character. This time, just to make this clear, you're not allowed to create any more relatives, friends, hired assassins, or any other characters with any connection whatsoever to Alden or Raladin. Are we clear on this?
So ends the equally short and annoying life of Raladin, the non-paladin.
But it's not the end of the campaign's ongoing horror story. Please let me know if you're interested in the last and final part of this RPG nightmare. Feel free to take a guess about what's about to happen in Act 3. A. Raladin accepts DM's ruling and creates a new character who doesn't try to harm or kill any of the other party members. B. Raladin continues on his horrible quest to avenge Aladin and Raladin. Or C. Raladin somehow manages to do both of the above at the same time. Now, to make it clear, there's actually a reason for why all these events are happening. OP, in a statement that I'm not going to really read out, explains that a lot of this happened when they were teenagers. And when you're friends at that time, you're not going to be, so keen on wanting to kick people out. It can be awkward, especially when you have to see them next day at school and like,
Why'd you kick me out?
throw in the fact this is happening in real life, it's going to be hard to kick someone. Online it's easy, but when you're face to face with people, then it gets awkward. But that does answer a few questions. They were teenagers.
What is that odious stench? Smells like
Teenagers.
Look, We've all been, or some people are going to be, teenagers. It's a time period where everyone's going through hormones and are trying to find themselves and figure themselves out. It's a time in life where you're still figuring out social cues and how to interact with people. And while it is an excuse for some actions, it's certainly something that people need to take consideration. Something that a lot of adults seem to forget is that teens tend to be immature, or how people in the past tend to be immature in a different culture. Even 10 years ago, our culture was very different, and people do change over time. What I'm saying is, you shouldn't hold people for what they did and said as a teenager, so long as they didn't cross a very fine line. Now, let's figure out what happens in part 3, the final part. After the tragic deaths of both Aladin the Paladin and his long-lost brother Raladin the Rogue, our campaign continues. Raladin seems to have given up on his silly quest for revenge and rolls up a new character who's pretty much a standard human fighter. No weird name and no particular weird behavior this time. It probably helps he's allowed to start with plate armor since we're higher level now. The new fighter mostly just sticks to hacking and slashing and doesn't cause any issues. A couple sessions go by and we're all having fun. The earlier horror stories are soon forgotten, and we even plan to spend the whole weekend just playing D&D. Our old friend Cameo called me earlier today, and he told me that he'll be back in town for a couple days.
That's awesome. We haven't seen him for over a year. Let's ask him if he wants to guest star in our campaign. Let's do it!
Some hours pass, and our old friend Cameo shows up at the house.
I'm looking forward to playing D&D again, but I guess I'll need to roll up a new character for this. I don't even remember all the rules.
Don't worry, we wanted to cook and eat something first anyway. We've got plenty of time to roll up a character for you. The party could really use a dedicated healer at this point, so a cleric would be a good option, but you can pick whatever you want, of course.
Cleric sounds fine to me. Let's do it. While you guys go cooking, I'll help Cameo fill out his character sheet.
Thus the party heads up to the kitchen. Cameo and Fighter stay in the basement to roll up a new cleric. Yes, we really did play in a basement. Like the true nerds we are! A while later, we're all stuffed and get back together in the basement to continue our campaign.
We ended our last session in the middle of a vast underground fortress, built by the dwarves of a forgotten age. Ever since its fall, it has been overrun by a species of insect-like lesser demons from the abyss. It might be a little tricky to introduce your character at this desolate place, Cameo. Name's been taken prisoner by some of the demons who plan to use him as a sacrifice.
I rolled up a lawful good human cleric of... Man, what is with all these names?
Maybe he was sent to the Forgotten Fortress by a vision from his god who thought that there was an important mission for him to achieve there.
Yes, that fits perfectly.
Fine with me. Let's begin this adventure.
The game begins, and our party of adventurers stumble into an armored stranger in the underground fortress. Since he's a cleric of lawful good deity, he seems very trustworthy, so we join forces and continue to clear out the ruins of the demonic infestation. DM clearly enjoys the fact that we're having an additional party member and a healer, so he really amps up the combat encounters. In an old dwarven workshop, the demons have awoken some ancient constructs who, of course, try to kill the intruders. It's a really tough fight.
Damn, these things really hit hard. I could use some healing over here.
Don't worry, monk. We have a cleric with us. Even if you go down, it's not a big deal.
I cast Cure Wounds on Fighter. He's closer to my position than Monk. Ouch, Monk. The other construct swings its rusty saw blade at you. It's a critical hit!
DM rolls his dice, and the already injured monk goes down. But luckily we managed to pulverize the remaining constructs in the following round of combat.
Can I please get some healing now? I'm like 2 rounds away from dying!
I walk up to Monk and kneel over his unconscious body. Then I use coup de grace to kill him!
Well, off to visit your mother.
What? I am a cleric of Herodis, the Arch-Paladin. I was sent here by my god to avenge the death of one of his servants. He was betrayed and left to die, you evil cowards! Other than Fighter, of course, who was not a member of your party back then.
He's fine, I don't have any trouble with him.
Everyone facepalms. Fighter and Cameo start laughing their asses off maniacally. That's it. We're ending this here. I'm done with this shit. We spend the rest of the weekend playing Warhammer Fantasy Battle instead. Fighter/Raladin and Cameo the Cleric feel super smug like they have just pulled off the heist of the Mona Lisa. We try to shut them down by crushing their Empire army. We never continued this particular D&D campaign, but we started a new one instead. Any type of PvP was strictly banned from now on, and we played no more games worthy of this subreddit. Growing maturity probably helped as well. It's a bittersweet ending, I guess, for this RPG horror story. Honestly, I can't even be mad at Alden at this point. I'm actually kind of impressed. I'm more mad at the party and DM at this point, but again, teens, and it's awkward to tell friends to leave the table. Granted, I'm gonna say that behavior like this shouldn't be tolerated. Honestly, after the second story, I wouldn't play with Alden ever again myself. And while this is obvious behavior, sometimes you need to remember that sometimes it's not clear-cut in the moment, especially with someone you're friends with, and when you're immature teens. Luckily, as OP stated, they've all grown up and learned from this situation, which is the best way to go about it. In that case, if you guys want to suggest the story, please let me know in the comments down below. And if you have any art you'd like me to feature in my videos, please send it to me via Twitter or through the email address down below. I'm Sweeps, and may your dice be kind to you all. Thank you very much. Bye bye.